Welcome to Reckless Paradise, everyone. I'm your host, Marissa, and I'm here with my co host, Dystro. Say hi.
Hello, everyone.
Happy Thursday. I hope everybody had a really good Christmas. I hope everybody's having a good final week of 2022. Man, this year has flown the fuck by.
Oh, yes, it has.
How are you doing, Dystro? You having a good day?
Yeah, I had a good one. I had a good day. I was
That's good.
getting tired by the end of my shift, but that's normal.
Falls asleep on the job. Oh, God. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us tonight. This is our final episode of 2022. I can't believe we're already at the end of the year. It's crazy. I say this all the time, probably weekly on this show. This whole year has went by so freaking fast, considering the fact we've been doing this since January of this year
Mhm.
when we originally started on Spotify. Wow, we're almost at our 1 year anniversary of being a show, and it's just been a fun little adventure that we've been doing. But we're not here to discuss that. That'll be for our 1 year anniversary episode, which will be happening January 8th, which is a week from this Sunday coming up. So,
Mhm.
yeah. But tonight's episode, we are doing a 2022 recap. Yes, we are talking about all things 2022, starting from January going to now, December. There's going to be some good parts, going to be some sad parts, going to be some very exciting parts. Now, before we get started, so I guess let's do a little bit of self reflection here. For me, overall, 2022 was probably a better year for me when I compare it to 2020 and 2021 together. Because both of those years were really difficult for me mentally and emotionally for many, many reasons. This year, overall, was very, very promising for me. A lot of healing, a lot of getting out there more and trying to kind of, I don't know if I should say like, expand my horizon. I guess we could put it in terms of trying to meet new people, trying to talk to new people, make new friends, whether it's on Snapchat, Facebook, Discord, in person, like just that kind of thing. And I think I've done a really good job at doing that this year, kind of getting out of my comfort zone, getting out of my bubble, we'll call it, my little personal bubble. Um,
Your dirty bubble.
don't start. Oh man, but yeah, I could definitely say when I self reflect on 2022 as a whole, it has been a very, very good year. And I could definitely say the word to describe this year was healing for me. Because I have spent a lot of time, learning who I am again, healing from past trauma that I've been through the past 2 years. Actually, technically 3 years because 2019 was also not as good either.
Mhm.
But yeah, what about you, Daisho? How would you describe 2022 as a whole before we break it down?
Break it down. No,
Break it down.
um, I would say adventurous. I should say because like 2019 when I came back, like mind you, like I was in Tennessee in 2018 and I was there from like March until December, like around my birthday in 2018. And then 2019 comes along, it's like I couldn't find anything. But then like September of 2019, I had found like my very first like solid job. And then like 2.5 years go by. It's like I was still doing the exact same damn thing for 2.5 years. And then I was like, like and then like when 2022 came around, I was like, okay, like I wanted to get out of that same mentality of like going day in, day out, but it's like I made my own hours, yes, but it's like I was just sitting there and I was just waiting for shit to happen.
Right.
Whereas like, like now like I have a steady job, I have steady pay, I have friends outside of my work that I can talk to and stuff and like we met like a whole year ago, almost to like 2 years come next year. So
Yeah.
it's like, like if that didn't happen, it's like I don't know what I've been doing. Like I would have probably just been doing the exact same fucking thing.
Right. Yeah, definitely this year was a really good year. I think for both of us, in my opinion, just based off of like what we've been talking about, not only on the show but like behind the scenes, like on Discord and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, this year was really good, and I'm sorry for those of you who are listening out there that may have had a very tough year. I know how that feels. Dystro, of course, obviously knows as well.
Hmm.
2020 and 2021 were really rough years for me as a whole. I'm just so thankful 2022 turned out to be a really good year because I needed a good year.
I think we all did, to be
Yeah.
honest.
So let's break down this year, shall we? I'm sure
Yeah.
we have probably similar notes, but we probably have missed a few things, but it's all good. So let's start with January. January came around and we decided one of our New Year's resolutions was to start a podcast.
Mhm.
And here we are.
I had put New Year's Eve party with friends as well, because like didn't weren't we like in a voice chat, and it was like me, you, Ken's, our former producer, and somebody else or something.
Yeah, it
It
was
was
like a couple other people.
and we were just we were just talking, and like we were like counting down all that stuff, and we were like 3, 2, 1,
We're
and
all in different time zones. Well, some
yeah.
people are in different time zones.
Some were in different time zones. Me and Marissa, we were in the exact same time zone, which happily worked out. And then like I think like we were talking about our New Year's resolutions, like you said, and I had said, like I wanted to start a podcast,
Yeah.
and look where we are now.
Ta-da!
Ta-da!
Yeah, that night was amazing. I can't wait to do our New Year's Eve party this year. It's gonna be a lot different because like we have a few different people. Like we've gotten rid of some people that were just toxic to us, and then
Mhm,
I reconnected with some friends that I haven't talked to in quite a while, like Corey, who has been on our show twice this year.
mhm,
So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be interesting to have him around. Um, so unfortunately, the day we started our podcast, which was January 9th, Bob Saget had passed away.
mhm.
Now, if y'all remember from our Spotify stuff, our very first episode of the podcast was a Bob Saget, what was it, like a
Tribute.
Bob Saget tribute episode
Mhm.
where we literally talked about our favorite moments from Bob Saget, how we found Bob Saget, and lots more. Unfortunately, that episode's gone. We are gonna have to do a redo of that episode. Just
Yeah.
maybe we should do that sometime. Maybe. Well, I have January packed full of stuff for our show, so I'm gonna have to move it to February. I'm thinking. I'm not sure yet. Maybe we could swap something out. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, Bob Saget had passed away January 9th, which coincidentally enough, that was our first night of our podcast. We had done a test recording, and then we did an actual recording.
Mhm,
And man, like I remember fucking someone in our Discord server had
mhm.
shared a Twitter link to a news source saying that Bob Saget passed. So I'm like, no fucking way. This has to be a scam. This has to be a joke.
A hoax.
I go on Facebook, my fucking timeline is filled with like news sources like saying Bob Saget has died at the age of 65. I'm just like, no
Mhm.
fucking way.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's like one of those tragedies that's like it was so unexpected, and it happened like on our first ever episode. I mean, it was kind of not bittersweet, but it was kind of nice that we did do that for Bob Saget, because
yeah,
it was like we were on the ball with it, sort of
yeah,
thing.
we were. Oh my god, jeez. So yeah, that happened. God bless his soul, by the way. So
Um,
from there, we kind of continued along, trying to like figure out what to do with this podcast because we didn't have a solid schedule yet. We were still trying
mhm.
to learn the basics of everything, trying to learn how to like, how do we want to put this? Like,
Structure or like our format, sort of thing.
yeah, kind of like we had to set up social media accounts. We had to kind of like learn the Anchor because I think we were using Anchor at the time as well, but we had a producer. Um, but yeah. So we were trying to like learn how to jump off each other, like bounce
Hmm.
off each other, like verbally. Like we kind of have it down to a science now. The only problem is sometimes we have a little delay because Wi-Fi sucks.
And
Technology doesn't always work the best.
yeah, and we were like always talking over each other. I mean,
Oh
we
man.
still do that kind of a little bit, but it's just because like if like you were about to finish what you were saying, I'll pick it up.
Yeah.
And like it's like we've got it down to a science now, but then like way back then, like what, like maybe into
Oh,
like February, March, maybe into April, we started getting it into the groove a little bit.
it was rough in January. Let's just say that.
Oh
It
yeah.
was rough. Um so now we're going to have to rewind just a little bit. We're going to take you guys back to 2021 real quickly. So, in September of 2021, one of my favorite groups of all time known as Billy Talent, they announced that they were releasing their sixth album. I think it's their sixth album, Crisis of
Mhm.
Faith, on January 21st. Now, let me tell you, I already had it set in stone that I was going to stay up all night just so I can hear that album on January 21st. And that's
Yeah,
exactly what we did.
yeah, that's what we did.
We
Uh,
literally stayed up all night, January 20th into the 21st. Right up until midnight, we started listening to the album as soon as it dropped. And let me tell you, it was the best experience I've had in my life. It was like a second New Year's.
yeah, I had put that in my notes too. Um, I had put my mom's birthday, which was like January 3rd.
Oh,
So like
wow.
2 days after the New Year's resolution thing that we did, like I celebrated like my mom's birthday and stuff, and like that's coming up like within like a few days.
Wow. I'm going to have to remember that.
It's like it's January 3rd. So,
Okay.
but the 4th of January of this year, I had done I had done fucked up my sleep schedule that day.
You're so cool.
So it was January 3rd into like January 4th. Usually New Japan has like, Wrestle Kingdom, and I stayed up from 2 o'clock in the like midnight, maybe like 1 o'clock in the morning. Or no, it was 2 o'clock in the morning, and it didn't finish until 5.
Well,
So I stayed up like a whole like the day before and then into the next day.
holy crap. I remember that too.
And yeah, I messaged you like the next day. I was like, I am never doing that again. You're like, why? Because I was like, I watched Wrestle Kingdom pay-per-view from start to finish, and I almost fell asleep in the wheel. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna do that to my mom because she's already got car anxiety anyway. um,
Jeez.
but like we had a lot of deaths. We had Bob Saget, we had Sidney Poitier, who's another actor. And then we had Meatloaf, which
Oh,
that
man.
impacted the music industry like as a whole
That shook
too.
me to my fucking core because I grew up around Meatloaf's music. My dad loves Meatloaf. He has Bad Out of Hell 1 and Bad Out of Hell 2. And he had a few cassette tapes as well of Meatloaf. Man, I freaking what's funny is literally the night before he passed, I had watched a fucking like Meatloaf documentary on I think it was like Vice TV or something. I think it might not have been Vice, might have been Reels. I think it was Reels. I don't know, like that was weird. They literally showed a documentary the day before he died. I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? So they had to show the fucking documentary again that same night because he died. I'm just like, oh my god. But yeah, January was shitty for deaths. I could definitely say that. With Bob Saget and then Meatloaf, like, oh my god.
But it was kind of okay for wrestling as a whole. Like they had like the AEW like Beach Break kind of like special.
The lights out match with Adam Cole and Orange Cassidy.
That's why I put, yeah.
Yes, I love that match. And Orange fucking
Um,
won.
and I put the Royal Rumble down, but then I put in parentheses which kind of sucked in a
Yeah.
way. It was like it was just so lackluster. But then like towards the end of that month, on the 30th, I had started my new job, and it's almost been a whole year.
Welcome to
Uh,
Jimmy John's.
Look at that, Jeffy Jones. But yeah, like next month will be a whole year since I started my new job.
Damn! Oh my god, that's crazy to think about too. So this
Yeah.
episode's definitely gonna be long. We're 15 minutes
Oh
in. We
yeah.
only made it through 1 month. Oh no. Okay.
Let's go.
Well, okay, let's. I don't have much written down for February,
Either.
so that's probably a good thing. So February came around. We continued doing the podcast stuff. I ended up getting my first ever notice. I call it a notice, like it's like a notification, but I got my first ever notice from Wardlow on Instagram. I think he liked one of my comments. I think that's what it was because I didn't get my Wardlow shirt yet. I didn't get that till like spring after Easter. I got
Yeah, I
that.
remember because I think you took a screenshot of it. I think.
Yeah, like I'll talk about that more when we get to spring. I officially had made our podcast YouTube channel on February 27th, and I am so fucking glad I did. Because
Mm-hmm.
if it wasn't for me making the channel, we probably wouldn't be here.
Mm-mm. It would have been done dusted.
I fully, just for y'all aware, I fully am in control of the YouTube channel. I upload, I edit, I pretty much do it all with the YouTube stuff. Dystro does like the social media stuff. I do too, though, but
um,
he got the easy stuff.
I got the easy stuff. But like and we celebrate like Valentine's Day as like just by ourselves and stuff. And yeah, I know. Yeah. But but like within that month too, like Avril Lavigne's like newest like album had come out that year.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
that album was awesome.
I haven't listened to her new stuff. I'm only into like the old stuff right now for her.
her new stuff is it's good only because of Travis Barker with it.
Travis! Travis!
Travis. And within that month too, like a new Tears for Fears album had came out.
Really? I don't
Yeah,
remember that.
yeah, like it came out in February.
Wow. Okay. Jeez, that's crazy. And they've been
Yeah,
around since like the 80s. Like, oh my god.
yeah.
Wow, that is dope. So I really, like I said, I really don't have much written down for February. February was kind of like a boring month. It was like the middle of winter. Didn't do too much. I kept listening to Crisis of Faith, that whole album. I kept listening to on repeat. I love it. So March comes along. March was a difficult month. I'm definitely going to tell you that. Because we lost two amazing people, starting with
Mhm.
Scott Hall, also known as Razor Ramon. He had passed on March 14th. He was on life support for a few days. I guess he had what something that was his hip.
Um,
I think he had like hip surgery, and
yeah,
then
he had
he
hip
had
surgery.
complications, and then I think he went into like, cardiac arrest or something like that, or he had a blood clot.
Yeah,
He was on life support, and then like a few days later, they removed him from life support, and he actually had lived for a couple hours after life support was turned off, but he ended up
hmm
passing.
hmm And then we lost Gilbert Godfrey within the same month too.
I have that written down for April.
Or well, that's for April. Yes, I'm sorry. Taylor
Boo!
Hawkins. Taylor Hawkins. We did right.
Yeah, Taylor died March 25th. We have talked about him quite a lot on the show, especially with our part one of our most notable drummers episode we did.
Mm-hmm.
He was actually our last drummer we mentioned on that episode. Gotta
Mm-hmm.
save the best for last. He was the drummer of the Foo Fighters, passed away at the age of 50. We still don't have a cause of death yet.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like I think some I can't remember what it was, but it was like somebody had said like natural causes. Like, how is it natural causes?
He's only 50. He was in
Yeah,
good shape.
yeah. It's like he was in great shape.
I read something that he had like a couple drugs in his system, like opioids.
Opioid, yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but geez. Also in March, we really began to start posting episodes on YouTube. With our first episode being at the beginning of March, and ever since then, we've kind of tried to get onto a solid routine, considering I was the one in charge with the YouTube stuff. So yeah, that happened. Is there anything else you want to add?
Um, well, March was the beginning of my MS stuff.
Oh yeah, when you started like going to get looked at for that and stuff. And you got.
Hmm.
When did you get diagnosed? What month? Do you remember?
It was later on. It first started in March, and then it progressively got like it was like an up and down scale. But then like through like all this testing and all that shit, I got diagnosed in October.
Wow. Geez,
It
so
it
not
like
long
it,
ago.
yeah, it wasn't not too long ago.
Okay.
Um, but within that same month, I bought myself a Xbox One through my through my money that I got through my
Oh yeah, March was the year you got your Xbox One. You upgraded. I forgot about
yeah
that. And then you
yeah
got to finally start playing games with us.
ish. Um,
So, like,
so
yeah. So
it
April,
yeah, April.
man, April was definitely ups and downs. Unfortunately, in April, we had our falling out with our producer. We turned into a two-person podcast,
A duo.
which we're doing fine. We're doing really good. We've had some technical difficulties in the past. No big deal. We've been getting our episodes out on time, which is good. Um, Now, Red Hot Chili Peppers, man, they had a fucking terrific. They released two albums this year. The first one was released on April 1st called Unlimited Love. Their second one just came out back, I believe, in October.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to that in a little bit. And also, Rammstein released an album called Zeet. I think I'm pronouncing it right. Zeet.
Rammstein.
Zeit. They released an album.
Zit.
Yeah,
Zit.
Zeet on April 29th. I haven't listened to it yet. I actually didn't even know they released another album, which is pretty cool. Um, so I have to check that out. Um,
And I was supposed to animate and like that year or that month too was
months,
like
yeah.
the I said that year. That month was like the 2 night mania too, which was actually not bad.
Yeah, it wasn't
Not
bad.
bad.
I remember.
It was just only because of Stone Cold being there on both nights, which was freaking awesome.
Johnny
Uh,
Knoxville got me, bro.
yeah, that match is very slept on. Um, Cody versus Seth.
Oh yeah, when Cody
Out of
came
fucking
back.
nowhere. Fucking the main event of like night one was Stone Cold and Kevin Owens.
Okay,
Like,
yeah.
oh hell yeah! But
Jeez.
it's like that mania is like it's very slept on. Um, but it was like I think that mania is like kind of like one of those like up there in like the top 10 for me. Like maybe
That's
top five, maybe.
interesting take. Interesting take. Cock clap. Cock clap.
Oh,
So, shortly after Mania, we had lost another comedian, Gilbert Gottfried, on April 12th, which actually is the date my papa passed away in 2019. So that's kind of weird. And what's also weird is there is a picture on Twitter of Bob Saget, Gilbert Gottfried, and I think Louis Anderson, maybe? I know he passed away too this year. I just don't remember what month. We lost
it was
all three of these guys this year.
January when Louis passed.
Wow. We lost all three of these guys in the same year.
Hmm.
And the sad thing was, when Bob Saget passed away, shortly after that, me and Dystro and Kens and our friends there, we had watched like the best moments of Bob Saget, and one of them was the Comedy Central roast of Bob Saget, and Gilbert
Mm,
Gottfried was on it. And like, oh, it just hurts to see it now. It's like, he's gone.
yeah.
He was one of my favorite comedians of all time, and I've been saying this for a while. I think the comedy world got hit super hard this year with deaths.
Hmm.
Oh
And
man.
the wrestling world too.
Oh fuck yeah, for sure. And the music
Mhm.
world, like just in general, like we got hit hard with deaths.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So on a bittersweet note, um, my 1 year anniversary of me getting out of my toxic relationship had hit its mark on April 20th. I had officially been out of my toxic relationship for a year. And let me tell you, in a year, you can change so much as a person. Like your outlook on life can change so much, and it's
Hmm.
changed for the better. Obviously, I have a different outlook on life. It's more of a positive outlook. Um, I really like who I've become this year, especially when I hit the 1 year anniversary of that breakup. I feel so like powerful. Like I feel alive. How do I say it? Like I've never felt better.
Or free.
Yeah, like I feel alive. Like I feel like a fucking butterfly.
Motherfucking butterfly, bitch.
Oh man. Okay, so we are moving on to May. We are 25 minutes
It's
in. We're
gonna be
almost halfway through. Also, yes, it's gonna be May.
May.
So we're almost halfway through 2022.
Yeah. I didn't put too much on May.
Oh,
Um
I put quite a bit.
like but most of it was like there was like two wrestling pay-per-views I know about. There was like one death and there was like five music that I
I
have.
think we may have the similar music stuff. So I'm gonna start with this first. At the beginning of May, my best friend Ken came over to my house for the first time because he's never been over to my house. He was here for about 4 days. We had a really good time. I'm so glad he came over. We had a like I literally took him ATV riding everywhere up here. Well, except for like a couple places that I wasn't comfortable riding by myself yet. But man, like that was a fucking big highlight of my 2022. Like I had so much fun because like
Mm,
usually it's me going over there, which I did. I did go over there in August, like I usually do. But like
after
when
the
he
fair.
came here, like it was just such a different feeling. Like you could do like different stuff at my house. Like oh, I loved it.
This is my
So
humble abode.
this is my humble abode. Okay, so let's get into the music part. So we're gonna start out with May 6th. May 6th, we had a couple people release albums. We had Simple Plan releasing Harder Than It Looks. I
Mhm.
still haven't listened to that album yet. Um, and
But
3 Days Grace also released Explosions that day.
I had also put Arcade Fire down
Yes, they
and
released
and we
yeah, I was trying to think of the name.
and Fozzy too.
Fuck, I forgot about Fozzy. Wow.
Yeah, it's the song that has Sane on it,
Oh, okay.
that album. And then also Def Leppard as well too.
Yeah, they released Diamond Star Halos on the 27th, towards the end of the month. Now,
Hmm.
I have heard a few songs from that album, but we're going to be listening to all the Def Leppard albums together this year, sometime this year. I'm very excited to do that with you. Very special group in my heart. So I kind of want to wait and not listen to the album until we listen together. So we both get like a first time listen. Like,
Right, right. Um, the only death I know about it was Ray Liotta, which was a very, very famous actor from his stuff from like Goodfellas and like many other projects and stuff like that. It's like there's so many, there's so many. But like he was like a very he was a really good actor. He was really like I think he was like in his early 60s, maybe mid 60s when he passed.
wow. Jeez.
Again, I could be just like shit talking my way through the dark here, but it's like it's just so odd that like some of these people like who could be like the healthiest person on the fucking world
And they pass.
and they pass.
That's
It's like
like Bob Saget, like unexpected.
yeah, and like Taylor Hawkins for example.
Oh,
Like he
fucking
he was in
yeah.
good shape.
Now we knew like with Gilbert Gottfried, I knew he wasn't
Hmm.
doing well. He's had that lifelong fucking like
Illness.
illness going on.
Mhm.
But yeah. So with May, we also had a couple pay-per-views. I know we had Double or Nothing for the AEW side, which was actually a pretty solid pay-per-view.
That was too.
And what was the second one?
Um.
Was it Hell in a Cell?
Oh no, it was WrestleMania Backlash.
Oh, okay.
That
That's right.
shitty. thing.
I hate that pay-per-view. We ain't gonna
just,
talk about
just,
that.
just take away the WrestleMania. Just keep it as Backlash. Plain and simple.
Yeah, it's so stupid. It used to be just called Backlash back in the day, but
But it's just because it's rematches, so we're just gonna do WrestleMania Backlash. It's like
it's
just
so
keep it as
dumb.
fucking Backlash. Just keep it as fucking Backlash. Just
Yeah.
plain simple.
So now we are into June. We're officially at the halfway mark. Man, we are. This is gonna be probably the longest episode we've ever done. I don't have
Halfway
much written
there.
down for June, mainly because it's kind of a simple month. We kept doing the podcast stuff. On June 5th, I turned 20.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
We had dropped a friend of ours who we no longer speak about. Let's just say,
He runs with E. coli.
let's just say this, ladies and gentlemen, if you are over the age of 18, please do not flirt with minors. Anyone under the age of 18, please, thank you. We do not condone that on this channel.
Yeah. I had written down a lot of pay-per-views that I had personally watched,
Okay.
or knew about. So the NXT stuff, like In Your House and stuff, that they started doing that, like I think, like during like COVID, I believe. It was like 2019 or 2018 when they started doing it, I think.
Okay, so pre-COVID.
So yeah, like kind of like pre-COVID, but going into the COVID stuff. Um, and then like Hell in a Cell, obviously, with the main event of Cody Rhodes versus Rollins, and Cody Rhodes like his torn pec. Like, oh, whew, no. It's like, thank you, but no. um, and then Road Rager from AEW, which the main event was supposed to be Bucks, Jurassic Express, and Hardys, but I think it was because Jeff had a DOI or something, or he got pulled over and he couldn't make it. I think that's what it was.
I
So
don't
then
really
it was,
remember.
I think that's what it was. But then it was Bucks versus Jurassic Express, and Jurassic Express won, which I was like, fucking finally.
Yeah, I remember that match.
And then we had um Slammiversary from Impact, which was good. And then we had the AEW versus or AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling Forbidden Door pay per view, which was pretty fucking good. And then we had Blood and Guts like to end out the month.
Damn, jeez. Solid month for wrestling, that's for sure.
Yeah,
So
and
we are like, so like, I'm trying to think, like, when it comes to wrestling, like, I feel like WWE has more pay-per-views than AEW does.
oh well, yeah, of course they do. But it's like, see, the thing is though, it's like WWE they don't let their shit build like
Right.
AEW does. Because AEW has like four, maybe five pay per views, if that, and they let their stuff build.
And WWE has like multiple, sometimes two a month.
Yeah, like it was like what, like last month it was like it was Crown Jewel, and then it was Survivor Series.
Yeah, Survivor Series, War Games. Yeah.
So but we did lose Tim White in June too.
Tim
He was
White.
he was one of the he was one of the refs from like way back
Oh,
in the day.
okay. Yeah, I remember that now. Okay. Jeez. God damn. So now we bounce into July, right in the peak of summer. Man, fucking I did a lot of kayaking that month specifically. I remember taking a lot of pictures on the water. Fucking beautiful up here to kayak, by the way. If you ever make your way up here, fucking amazing. Um, Now, not much new music I think happened as much as far as my notes go. Shinedown released Planet Zero on July 1st. That album was supposed to be released, I think in May, but they
Mm.
had postponed the release date because I guess they had some issues going on with like records getting printed out and stuff like that. Like actual like physical like CD records, like the records you put on a record player. They had a shortage of records this year. That actually was an issue with Billy Talent's Crisis of Faith. They had a lot of records on back order. People who ordered the the vinyl sets or even just vinyl in general, a lot of people didn't get theirs till April, which is crazy because there's a worldwide vinyl slash record shortage.
Mhm.
So that kind of impacted a lot of bands with their sales this year. And I guess Shinedown was one of them because they moved their album release date a couple months ahead. Um, I feel like during this month in August, our podcast was at its peak.
Yeah, I would say so too.
Like just with like the topics we were doing. Like July, we did a lot of nostalgia day stuff based off of
Hmm.
what I could see. August, we did a lot of Van Halen stuff,
Hmm.
which was huge. Like I was ready to do Van Halen stuff for quite a while. I'm a huge Van Halen fan. Um, but yeah, also in July we had a really small but tight knit friend group. Like we had a really solid gaming schedule going on, which we still do. Um, it was kind of just you, me, Ken's, and Corey was on and off like with us, like getting on and off because like at the time he was moving. But man, like I remember during July as well, I was planning out my finances for going to Canada and also going to the fair that following month. But now, what do you have for your July?
For my delight, well, obviously wrestling stuff. Money in the Bank that happened, Firefest that happened, an ROH pay per view that I've seen in full, uh, AEW Fight for the Fallen, SummerSlam, which that SummerSlam was really good. And then like Ric Flair's last match, lol. Um,
Oh yeah, SummerSlam with fucking Brock and the stupid tractor.
like I've heard people that said like that match between Brock and Reigns was like the best match that they've had together, I guess. But it's only because like Reigns is like he's surpassed like what he's become um since he's been there from like 2012. So a 10-year vet in the wrestling industry.
Yeah.
But he's like he's proved on his ring ethic. He's improved on his mic work. He like knows like what to say, but he can still like kill you with the promo.
Yeah.
And then Brock, he's just built like a brick shit house, and he's Cowboy Brock now. So
I love
I mean, what
Cowboy.
else to say? It's like what else to say?
Right. Jeez, did we have any deaths that month that we need to mention?
Uh, James Caan, who was he was also an actor, but he was in like the horror movie Misery from like Stephen King's book Misery. He was in the movie Elf with Will
Oh,
Ferrell. Yeah, it's him.
okay. Wow.
Hmm.
Geez, like I feel like I forget about a lot of these deaths until you mention them.
Right.
Like I get so sad like when I find out about it the day it happens, but then like I kind of forget as months go on until you mention
Mhm.
them.
Right.
So we get into August. We are nearing the end of summer. Everybody's getting ready to go back to school in September, except for us because we're fucking adults. Um,
We have this piece.
Now, this month I was not home much. I was at the fair for a whole week. It was like 8 days long. I go every year for the whole week. I love going for the food, reconnecting with friends I haven't seen in a long time, going on the rides, checking out the exhibits and the animals and stuff like that. I had a fucking blast. I can't wait to go again this year coming up. It's 8 days again. Shortly after that, I only had a 2 day time period where I was home, but in that 2 days, I was packing. I was going back to Canada for a whole week, just like I did last year, to go visit Ken's and to go visit my family. Man, let me tell you, I had a really good time this year in Canada. I wasn't sitting around much. I was out and about, going places and stuff. I remember I wasn't really texting people as much. I was just gone.
Well, and plus we had done what we hadn't done before either. We had done a batch on the same day. Like, so we like recorded 2 episodes on one day and then recorded 2 more on
Yeah, for another day.
day. for another
Yeah,
day.
to ensure that you guys would still get content, which
Hmm.
I'm glad it worked out. We used the YouTube Premiere feature, so it aired it to you guys on a specific date at a specific time, and
Hmm.
it worked. So we still had content even though I wasn't home. I still say this month, I put this in my notes, this month was the best month of 2022 just because it was so exciting. It was full of action packed stuff. I gained a lot of weight that month because of fair food and then like eating poutine over in Canada. And plus, I was eating out almost every night there anyways because my little cousin likes McDonald's. But and plus, my aunt cooked a couple meals while I was there, so like I fattened up a little bit. Um, Now while I was in Canada, I guess I Prevail released their album True Power on the 19th.
And that album is
That
awesome.
album is literally a candidate for album of the year.
Yeah. Um. And then during that month too, we had like the G1 Climax from New Japan, which it's like 2.5 week long thing,
Hmm.
and it's like it was like it's good to watch it, but it's like the point system and all that stuff. Like some people could be like, "What the hell are they doing?" um, but we had two deaths in August. We had Olivia Newton-John, who you may know from like Grease, like the OG Grease movie. She was like a very well-known actress. And then we lost Gene LeBeau, who was a former wrestler, and he was like 89 years old.
Wow. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Jeez. Fucking deaths, man. I remember when Olivia Newton John died. It was a huge shock to everybody.
Hmm.
Jesus. So for September, I don't have much written down. Another kind of basic month. Um, Two albums were released in this month. One was a bit of a disappointment. But I'm
Slipknot.
just, yeah, Slipknot. The End So Far was released on September 30th. Man, I was talking to one of my guy friends who also kind of agrees with me that The End So Far was definitely a shitty album. We don't talk about that album. However, there are a few good tracks on that album. I know that Hive Mind was probably one of my favorites to talk about. Um, and so
Yeah.
is Yen. Yen's good. The dying song, Time to Sing, or something like that, and Chapel
Is
Town
it-
Rag as well.
Yeah, the Dying Song, Town Rag. It's like it was like four or five like good songs, but then the rest of it was like,
Oh, it
eh.
was like no, like
Um,
oh, it was
but
like no, it's like a big no.
stop it. Um, so I had written down a whole bunch of shit for September. Like most of it was like it's like like we had like Clash at the Castle, we have NXT Worlds Collide, we've had All Out, we had Grand Slam from AEW, then we had Victory Road from Impact. Um, but within September we've had like a Megadeth album had dropped. One of my personal favorite bands of all time right now is Electric Callboy, who's like it's like it's kind of like metalcore music, but they put like electronic like sounds onto it, like some like old like those like old synth pianos.
Yes.
Like they would put that like on top of some of their stuff, but it's like their videos are like funny to watch. Then we've had like a new Ozzy Osbourne album had come out that
Oh
month.
yes.
Parkway Drive, which one of our mutual friends loves. Um, and we kind of forgot to talk about the Weezer Seasons albums.
I was gonna save that for December so I can
Okay.
like cover them all at the same time. Now,
Um,
yeah, Patient Number Nine from Ozzy Osbourne. That's another album for an album candidate for album of the year. I have heard
mm,
nothing but good things about that album. That artist Ozzy, he's actually made it to number one on Showme's top 30 list for 2022, which is fucking awesome. Like, I mean, I kind of knew Ozzy was gonna be up there somewhere.
yeah, it's like between like back then when he started doing Black Sabbath and stuff, and then where he's at now, it's like It's like, holy crap. Like,
And he's still kicking even though like his
oh
body
yeah.
is shutting down. Like he can barely walk. I heard him say that in an interview on Ozzy's Boneyard, which is a Sirius XM channel. Um, he can barely fucking walk. And he said that like playing his day just like that. It's crazy. Like, huh, my God.
I mean, he's still alive and kicking. Power to him.
Oh, amen.
Um,
Now,
we've
another
had.
album that, oh, sorry
Sorry.
to cut you off.
No, no, you go
Since we're on
ahead.
the
I'm
subject of
good.
albums, uh, we have an album that also came out on September 30th. I don't know if you know about this one. Sammy Hagar and the Circle released Crazy Times. Now, I've heard one song from this one. It's actually pretty good. And that's another thing too, like it's crazy. Sammy Hagar is in his fucking 70s and he's still making music.
Right.
It just goes to show no matter how old you get, you can still make music as long as you believe in it.
Right. But let's bring it all back down to reality real quick. From Samoa Joe there.
Oh fuck.
We've had 2 deaths in September. One of them was Coolio.
Oh yeah, Gangsta's
Never
Paradise.
dies. It's funny because it's like that's the only song that I know.
Yeah, same
I think
here.
that goes for everybody. But it's just because like it's so weird. Like what we're saying, like with Bob Saget and Taylor Hawkins and stuff like that. Like he was probably like super healthy. He probably was. We don't know, but it's like he just like like he's just gone.
Gone. This is fucking
Um,
crazy.
and then Queen Elizabeth II too.
Oh yeah, okay. Yep. I remember hearing that on the news. Like people had mixed reactions to that. I guess she wasn't as well liked as a lot of people said she was.
I,
But
I mean, it's like to each their own, but it's just like
let the
she was,
person rest in peace.
yeah, like let the person just die in peace. Like it's like when remember when Gilbert Gottfried's Twitter got hacked?
Yes, I remember that. Like, what the fuck? Like, who the fuck would
Like
do that?
like it was like was it like the day or it was like the day after he passed or something, or it was just that day when he passed, like somebody had hacked his Twitter, and it's just like really, like couldn't you just not let the fucking guy rest in peace? Okay, before we go off into a tangent here, October.
So, I have one more thing to mention really quick for September. I also forgot to mention this in August. In August, we began our Billy Talent pilgrimage, where we listened to every single album from Billy Talent. Now, we didn't do this in order. We used a wheel to do this, but it took us about a month to do it because we did all 7 albums plus Watouche, so that's 8. So,
Mhm.
and I say 7 because of hits. You got to put hits in there because you do have 2 songs and hits that are not on any other album. That was a really fun pilgrimage. But we're going to get into more fun stuff in October. October was probably the roughest month for me this year, unfortunately, because after a whole year of being single, staying away from relationships, I had gotten into a 3-week relationship and got cheated on. So that sucked. But you know what? You gotta pick yourself back up and keep going because, man, life does not stop when you want it to. You need to keep fucking going.
Hey, that's a word to live by with my MS stuff.
Yeah, keep fucking going. But some other fun stuff happened in October. Like, we got the reuniting of Blink 182. Like, what?
Oh yeah, it's like it's so it's like it was so surreal when we saw that announcement. Like one of our friends, he was like a huge Blink 182 fan. They were like, "Bro, guys, 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 guys." And we're like, "What?" he was like, he was like, "Blink 182 is coming up." He's like, "Coming back together." Blink 182 is coming back together, and like it just sounded fake.
It's too true, too like too good to be true kind of thing.
Yeah, it was like too good to be true, and I won't believe it till I see it. And then it's just like they came out with edging.
on October 14th, they released Edging. They were teasing it for about a week, and they finally released it, and I'm just like, my fucking 15-year-old heart can die happy now.
Right. Like they're supposed to come out with a new album like what, next year too?
Sometime next year, yeah, they're gonna come out with some new stuff. I'm so excited. And they're also going on tour. They're coming to Montreal. I want to go, but
And
I'm fucking broke and I
my
have nobody to go with.
they're coming to my neck of the woods.
We have nobody to
And
go with.
I mean, hey, you never hey, come on.
Hey, come up here.
Hey, come up here. Hey, come on down. But since we're into October, this was the month when I officially got diagnosed with MS.
MS.
Now, the doctor, my neurologist, he's he's a really good guy. You know, he's one of those doctors that's like he'll how should I word this? He'll make jokes with you when the time is needed, but then he'll be like seeing you and like, hey, this is what's going on. You know, like it's like he just cuts all that silliness off and he goes, this is what we're looking at and stuff. And he always asks like, is there any questions you want from me to ask me and all that stuff? And I'm supposed to go meet him next month at the end of the month to do a follow up to see how I've been doing with my infusions and
Oh
stuff.
yeah, you'll have to definitely give us the tea about that, Dystro.
Give us the
Now,
tea.
I actually kind of have a surprise for you. In 2023, I am thinking because I sent you the first half of January schedule. I don't have the second half done yet. I have a
Mhm.
surprise episode we're going to be doing towards the end of January, just for you. Um, I don't know. I don't think we're going to do a solo episode for it. I think it'd be best to just do it together because I have a little bit of background knowledge myself, but I'm not going to spoil anything. But just wanted to get that out there for you. So yeah.
Um, but it's like, yeah, it's like he's like been super on board. He's one of those doctors that like he doesn't take no for an answer sort of person.
Mm-hmm.
And the people that I go through with my insurance stuff, like the We Care people, like they take no for an answer. They don't take no for an answer too, and which is like that's assuring to me.
Yeah.
Like it's like there's some health people out there that are like, yeah, well, we're just gonna have to wait and see on that. It's like, no, I want fucking answers now. I want them now. But you know, it's like I think I'm doing better with the infusion since this is my second one.
That's good.
Um, it's like I have up and down days. I mean, everybody does, but it's like you know, it's just I just take one day at a time. And I've said to you, and I've said this a million times. I said I'm not gonna let this ruin my life. I'm not gonna let it take over my life. I'm just gonna just keep doing my fucking thing and
Yeah,
just
just keep
see how it goes.
vibing.
Yeah.
Ah.
Okay.
Speaking of vibe, remember how I mentioned Red Hot Chili Peppers released two albums? Well, this was the month they released Return of the Dream Canteen on October 14th. Literally, we literally got a fucking treat October 14th. We had fucking Blink
Mhm.
182, we had Red Hot Chili Peppers, like, oh my god. And then I think also that month, Green Day had announced they're going to be releasing their 25th anniversary of Nimrod, which
Mhm.
includes some like bundle stuff. I think this is like some merch, the vinyl set, as well as some exclusive tracks that were live, I believe, maybe some demos
Mhm.
as well, all on the
Mhm.
25th anniversary of Nimrod. Like, can't go wrong. Like,
It's and
wow.
and plus like we've said this before, it's like this year alone was the year for music.
Yeah, because
In
like
our
we
opinion.
had, yeah, because we had just gotten out of like 2020, 2021, like the 2 years where lockdown was still a thing. Bands could not get in the studios to record. Everything was done virtually. 2022 was the year where people started to come back out. A lot of restrictions were lifted. Bands could get back together, go on tour. start doing albums and tracks and stuff. And it was a really solid year for music. And I am definitely excited for 2023 because, man, there are some groups that are already announcing shit. I am
Metallica, for example.
stoked. We are going to go broke.
It's just first day of 2023, and I'm broke.
So I have one more thing to mention for October on my end. This was the month me and Dystro played a game called A Way Out. This is literally my favorite game I have played this year.
Mm-hmm. Mine too. Mine
It
too.
pulls at my heartstrings. We're gonna have to do an episode about this in 2023 and just talk about it. Like, oh, I love it so much.
Um. So I have two bands down for like music and stuff.
Okay.
Lamb of God, which our good buddy Ken's loves very much, and then Architects. Now this band is they're kind of like what am I trying to look for? Like not pop punk, but like metalcore punk.
Okay.
If you, it's kind of like it's. I'll send you a link to like their like one of their videos later, and it's like you just
Okay.
like listen to it on your own time, and it's like it's so good. It's so good. But we did have 5 deaths that I know of in
5.
October.
Holy fuck.
Um, Angela Lansby from the TV show Murder She Wrote. Um, Loretta Lynn, Jordan, Jerry Lee Lewis passed in October,
Wow.
and the save for last, one of the pro wrestling legends in Japanese wrestling, Antonio Inoki.
Oh yes, and that I think in January they're doing at
Wrestle Kingdom.
Wrestle Kingdom. They're doing that like isn't it like a
A
memorial
memorial
match?
show, yeah, like a memorial, yeah. It's like it's a memorial show as a whole, but they're doing yeah, like a memorial match for
Okay.
him.
Wow. I actually
It's
forgot about that. God damn.
um, but yeah, it's like he was like 80 or 90 something when he
Wow.
passed. I
Jesus.
could be completely wrong about that, but it's like he looked pretty solid. He
Wow.
was like he looked like he could kill you.
Jeez. So we are approaching the 1 hour mark for this episode. Oh my. We
it's
have two
it's
months left.
yeah. It is a long episode, yes, mind you, but it's like we wanted to do this because this year as a whole was good for both of us in our own way.
And we figured we share with you guys what happened this year.
Yeah.
So we are rolling into November. Oh man.
Oh
So
boy.
in November, actually, I forgot to mention this was October as well. We had started our ACDC pilgrimage, which was a 2 month long journey, which I enjoyed very much. Um, we listened to every single ACDC album from start to finish. Obviously, not in order. We used that wheel thing we always use. We were right in the middle of this in November. Um, at this time, I had finished one of my big New Year's resolutions, which was collecting every single Billy Talent album to exist. And I did it. Thanks to Dystro's help at the end with helping me get the final 3 albums I needed, as well as
Mm,
a bonus. I even got the Scandalous Travelers DVD, which is really rare to find. So,
yeah. It took 3 attempts to get that fucking thing.
yeah. Oh my god, I also finished my ACDC collection, which I did not have as a New Year's resolution. But hey, here we go. Fucking done with collecting ACDC stuff now. I own
Mm,
every fucking album, including a live album, which was my dad's.
yeah. Um I didn't write much for November. Oh well, November was the first ever infusion for my MS stuff.
Oh yeah, that's when you started your infusions.
Hmm And mind you, this was kind of like the crossroads. It was like the doctor had said like in October, he had said like you can go for doing 4 to 6 hours for 6 months or do once a month for 1 hour. I was like, let me think about that for a second. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do the 1 month for 1 hour because I did not want to sit there for 4 to 6 hours.
Yeah, I'd rather just get done once a month, whether it's, beginning or the end of the month.
Yeah,
Get
like
it done. It's like only for an hour. Like, can't beat
yeah,
it.
and it's like yeah, like if it was like and plus it would last like 6 months, but it's like between now and then, it's like it could go majorly downhill. You never know.
Right.
But I didn't write much. I wrote like Crown Jewel. We had Full Gear. We've had Survivor Series, War Games, which that pay per view was fucking awesome.
Yes, it
Um,
was.
and then we had Nickelback released their new album.
Get
Um,
rolling.
get rolled,
It came out
get
on the
rolled.
18th. I remember Shom did a iHeartRadio listening party on the actual radio station on Shom. And I
Mm-hmm.
heard Chad. He was talking
Check.
about some of those. Yeah, he was talking about some of the songs from the album. They even played a few songs from the album, like songs that usually don't get on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
It was fucking cool. I liked it. I'm glad I was a part of it. I'm glad I got to listen to it. Also on that same day, we had Saint Asonia release Extrovert. Now this is the group with Adam Gontier, which if you guys don't remember Adam Gontier, he was the former lead singer of 3 Days Grace. So we got new Adam Gontier stuff this year, which that's a treat.
Mm-hmm. But then we had like uh one of the lead singers of Fleetwood Mac had passed away in November. Christina McVie, is it?
Yeah, Christine McVie, she passed away literally right on the last day in November, November 30th, she passed. I remember we did a little tribute on the beginning of one of our episodes about her.
Mm-hmm.
I am kind of one of those hidden Fleetwood Mac fans. I don't talk about them much, but I do like their stuff. I grew up listening to their stuff on the radio. My dad's got cassette tapes and CDs of their stuff. And I actually would listen to them on my bus rides to school when I was a freshman going into my sophomore year. Right in the middle of winter, I'd listen to The Chain. I'd listen to that
Mm-hmm.
on my way to school. Like it'd be like 7 o'clock in the morning. It's still dark out, ice cold. Windows are fogging up on the bus because we're going down the fucking mountain. Oh my god. Gee. Now another thing I usually tend to do in November, I tend to in my head, I try to ask myself, okay, which band had their breakout year this year? I've talked about this band a lot on the show lately. I'm talking about The Warning. Three sisters out of Mexico who are actually right around my age. They have literally broken the barriers of music this year. They have literally shot up the charts in the mainstream so fucking high this year. They were actually in the Show'em Rock Room this year. They did a show in the Show'em Rock Room. Unfortunately, one of the sisters was sick, so they could not make it. But they still had a kick-ass show in the Show'em Rock Room, which is fucking amazing. Um, they have been on Show'em a lot. Like their music has been played a lot on Show'em with Choke and Money, and I fucking love them. Like they're kick ass, and I can't wait to see where they're gonna go in 2023. They actually opened up for 3 Days Grace in Montreal not too long ago.
Nice.
Like wow, I seriously would recommend this band to anybody, especially if you are like one of those people that really stand with the female vocalists out there. I feel like they're underappreciated. um, Definitely go take a listen to The Warning. Like, fucking breakout band of the year for me right there is The Warning. So we are going into our final month, which we're still in right now, December. We just finished our AC/DC pilgrimage towards the middle of December. Our final album we listened to was Blow Up Your Video. Man, what a fucking killer album. And I cannot wait to talk about this in 2023 when we do our album ranking.
Yeah, which is gonna be in 3 parts.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's gonna be
there's
a long one.
yeah, because there's 17 albums, and we're probably not going to be able to do all 17 within
In
that
one
one
go.
video. Yeah, because there would be lots to talk about.
So in this month, I have reconnected with old friends. Corey has come into our little friend group and he plays games with us almost nightly. I have kind of went into a full blown ACDC obsession now. Um, I was listening to Show's Top 30 for 2022. Like I said, Ozzy took number one. Billy Talent took number four, which fucking blew me away. I was not expecting them to be on that list, to be honest with you. I feel like they don't play Billy Talent enough on the radio anymore, but they made it to number four. Like, oh, my mouth dropped to the floor when I heard them come on. I'm like, oh, that's cool. And then The Warning took number two, which I was surprised they didn't take number one. But then again, Ozzy, like, come on, he can't beat Ozzy. Like, he's like God. He can't beat God. But I'm really happy with The Warning being number two on that list. Out of a list of 30 bands and artists, they were number two for Shome, which is fucking amazing. Like I tried telling you guys, this was their breakout year. I'm so happy for them. Um, but yeah, there really isn't much to talk about for December. Like Christmas just came and gone. I actually lost power a couple days before Christmas. We got hit with a really nasty storm. I think you guys might remember me briefly talking about that. I'd lost power for about 5 hours on the 23rd. Yeah, it's the 23rd.
Mhm.
But luckily we got it back just in time. But yeah, there really wasn't much to talk about for December. Like
uh,
nothing's really happened for me.
well, for me was my 24th birthday.
Birthday, birthday, birthday.
Happy birthday. But yeah, like my 24th birthday like went without a hitch. But it was just because like I wasn't working, so I mean that's always a plus. Um, but it was just like my mom and my dad, like we had my like cake and stuff like a few days before. Um, only because like my dad was off work and I was just coming home from work, and so like I was just like, I just like rather just do it on the weekend so then he could just be there and just celebrate it and stuff. And then, like when my birthday came around, my mom wasn't feeling very well that day. So like we wanted to do like a birthday lunch or something like that. So I just went ahead and just got us subs. Which I mean that's a birthday lunch. I mean, come
Yeah,
on. But then like, Christmas came around. I gave my dad the certificate of adoption, which I know it's kind of like it's not like a real adoption papers and stuff like that, but it's like, I mean, come on, it's the thought that counts. Because like if I actually try to do adoption papers, that would take a whole fucking year. And I was wanting not to wait that long to get all that. Um, so I just went ahead, just printed it off and just put in a nice little picture frame and stuff, and gave it to him on Christmas and stuff. Then he shed a tear, and my stepsister's hurt. Like my stepsister's mom, she she cried as well, and I was like, like I was like, I did it. But I say, Operation Christmas went without a hitch for
yeah,
me.
yeah. Christmas was good on my end, like I'd mentioned before. Um, so I have one last thing to talk about for December, and I guess that might wrap up the year. I mean, I know we only have like 2 days off the year. Anything can happen in those 2 days. Like I've seen people pass away on literally December 31st. Um, So, Weezer, yes, we were supposed to talk about Weezer. Weezer decided to release EPs for all 4 seasons of the year: spring, summer, fall, winter, obviously starting with spring in March. They released their first EP on the first day of spring in March. one of their hit tracks was A Little Bit of Love, which I hear on the radio a lot. By the way, Weezer made it to number 15 on Show's Top 30, so that's pretty fucking good.
Hey, hey.
Um, then summer came around. They released their second EP for the summer in June. Their hit track was Records.
Mhm.
And then
That
autumn
track is
came
awesome.
Yeah, and then autumn came around. They released their autumn one for the first day of autumn. I don't think there really was a hit track on that one.
Mm-mm. I don't think so.
And then winter, they just released their winter EP. I Want a Dog is their hit.
And plus, that EP released on my birthday too.
Yeah, so you got a little birthday gift from Weezer. You got Weezer on your birthday. Congratulations.
Yay!
So, ladies and gentlemen, we are an hour and 10 minutes into this episode. That
Oh my
is
god.
our 2022 recap. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope everybody has a very safe and happy new year. We will not be recording until January 1st. That is our next episode, where
Hmm.
we will be doing our 2023 New Year's resolutions episode. Basically, talking about what to look forward to for the new year, what our resolutions are, what we want to basically focus on this year. So it's gonna be fun. I'm very excited. I'm honestly ready to start 2023 on a really good note. And what's a better way to start it without doing a fucking podcast episode on the first day? Like, come on, like gotta put a
Right.
podcast episode on the first day. So Daisho, let's hear our final song of the night for 2022.
So, I am trying to pull it up right now. It's Spotify's giving me a fucking hard ass time. Um, do you know the song "It's the End of the World as We Know It"?
By REM, yes.
Yes. It is gonna be that song.
Hey, yeah, that's from Chicken Little.
From Chicken Little.
From the scene where the fucking aliens start to descend from the sky starts to break and fall and
The
everything.
sky's
Like,
falling.
oh my god, the aliens take over. Yeah, okay, that's a really good song to end the year with, to be honest.
Yeah, I was like when we when you were talking about like doing like the year in review sort of thing, I was like I was like I'm gonna do like it's the end of the world as we know it, and it's funny, I had heard that on the radio today. I was like,
Wow.
oh my god, that's like too fucking perfect.
So there you have it, our final song of the night, brought to you by Dystro. If you guys are interested in hearing It's the End of the World as We Know It by REM, be sure to click on the top right hand corner of this episode. The link should pop up towards the end of this episode, so be sure to be watching for it. So, if you guys stuck around to the very end, we greatly appreciate your support. As usual, be sure to go follow us on social media by clicking on the link in the description below, which will take you to the link tree, which has everything that you guys need, such as TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, and Daisho's gaming YouTube channel, which is doing pretty good right now.
Mhm.
So be sure to go subscribe to him and follow us on our social media to stay up to date with the podcast in case something goes wrong and we can't upload. So, for the final time in 2022, thank you guys for listening. We will catch you guys in the new year. Peace.
Peace.